Welcome back to the Rhino Show. I'm Austin. First of all, I'd like to welcome a new audience into our show, those of you listening on the Loud Majority platforms. I want to thank Kevin for not only recently having us in studio, but for promoting our show into his network. The only way we can save this country is by working together. If you listen to Kevin's national show on LFA TV, you'll see that every show has their own style. And we are different from Kevin, but we all have one thing in common: the love of this country. And that's what we're fighting for. Now, enough talking. Before we get this video started, though, make sure you hit the Rumble button if you're watching on Rumble. Now, let's get to the show. As always, I'm joined by Tal.
Hey, y'all.
And Kawan.
Hello, hello, hello.
So, we got a little spy balloon problem. Have you guys seen anything floating in the air recently?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but I'm like, wow, the balls in China just shooting very obvious balloons across our borders. I can't blame them because Biden kind of sucks and won't do anything about it. So,
yeah, well, Biden's owned by China, so we all know he's not going to do anything about it.
Sign just checks.
Apparently, the balloons even had English writing on them, and Western technology. So, I mean, that made in America balloon. Everything else is made in China besides the balloons they send to us.
Yeah, it's a little hard, isn't it?
That's great stuff. Well, if you guys haven't heard, this is what Joe Biden said about the first balloon, because there's been multiple now.
I was briefed on the balloon. I ordered the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible. They decided, without doing damage to anyone on the ground, they decided that the best time to do that was as it got over water outside within the 12-mile limit. They successfully took it down.
May I say, what a lousy excuse. He didn't want to hurt anybody. You tell me that our military, the best and strongest military in the world, the most well-funded military in the world, can't take down a balloon without hurting somebody? Balloon. They can't shoot down a balloon over a country that's mostly uninhabited. Again, not all America looks like New York or California. There's wide open ranges of free land where no one lives. What a trash excuse. Awful excuse.
Yeah, it was Montana. Like, nobody lives in Montana. Like, the governor of the state was like, this is the perfect place to shoot it down. Before that, it was flying over Alaska. Bro, Alaska has how much open land for you to shoot that thing down? No, you let that thing go across the whole country so it could spy on every base that it wanted to go to or do whatever it was doing. You know, supposedly, it's a weather balloon, but we all know it's a spy balloon. It got whatever it wanted out of our country because Joe let it go all the way over to what? North Carolina, South Carolina, one of them, before it got shot down, literally left the country.
That's why I feel like it's disgusting that he's even praising himself for the way that they handled it, because it was already done spying. It was already done doing what it needed to do, and then he successfully shot it down.
Yeah, my favorite reaction was what happened afterwards. They were like, well, yeah, we let a balloon go over the country, but China's already spying on us. They already have their satellites pointing at us. We know this already. They're already getting really good at spying at us. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. That's the problem. It sucks that they're spying on us through TikTok and through satellites. It sucks that the government just does not, whatever. What's another balloon when they're already taking up all our data?
Yeah, it's crazy. They're like, oh, it's just another balloon. Because I was watching the news earlier today, and they're like, yeah, there was a balloon that was downed near Hawaii 4 months ago. Like, oh, that would have been nice to know. We don't talk about that. And apparently, it's a little controversial now. Some people say there is, and some people say there wasn't. There were balloons during the Trump administration. So let me play this quick clip for you real quick, and we'll give you our thoughts on the other side.
The Department of Defense is claiming that there were 3 balloons, Chinese spy balloons, that entered the United States airspace during the Trump administration, and that they were not shot down and they were not disclosed. Can you please tell us the truth and if that's true?
Well, it's not true. I can refute it. Former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper refuted it yesterday. Former Secretary of State and CIA Director Mike Pompeo has refuted it. But Maria, the American people can refute it for themselves. Do you remember during the Trump administration when photographers on the ground and commercial airline pilots were talking about a spy balloon over the United States that people could look up and see even with the naked eye, and that a media that hated Donald Trump wasn't reporting? I don't remember that either, because it didn't happen.
Yeah, you heard it right there. It didn't happen, in my opinion. This guy, it's the former director of national intelligence. I had to look it up. John Ratcliffe. That's kind of his job. I mean, he's saying it didn't happen. But according to the media, there were balloons that flew over in the Trump administration. So we're in a kind of interesting spot here.
It was crazy is that it was crazy is that some of these guys that he mentioned and that were like confirming the story that it didn't happen were not friends of Trump. They were not friends of Trump during the time that they were working with him. They have all the motive in the world to bury Trump, and even they refuted the Democrat story that Trump had balloons flying over. He didn't.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing how they have all these stories. They're trying to make Biden look like the good guy. They're like, yeah, Biden shot it down once again after it's done spying, but
Yeah.
Trump, he let China roll right through our country with their balloons, and he didn't do a thing about it. It's just amazing the spin that they can have for any story at any time, even with balloons. Like we're on the balloons now, out of all things.
I think Democrats should go into writing fairy tale novels. If they can spend that energy, they making up stories and fairy tales on something creative. I think that will be much better than them sitting in Congress making up fake laws.
Yeah, it just feels like it's a cover up for something. What could that cover up be, or how many cover ups?
And honestly, again, like we said, China has already been spying us for a long, long time. We know this. They know this. This is clearly just a distraction from other things going on in this political space, where we're all looking at the sky like, oh, a balloon, like literally like children looking at a balloon in the sky. They're doing all this other shady stuff with Pfizer, with all of these other vaccine stuff behind our backs, and we just none the wiser, just focus on this fake story with a fake premise.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Pfizer, Tal, what are your thoughts on the gay Pfizer dude?
Okay, all right. So we learned a lot from the guy. James O'Keefe went undercover again, as he does many, many times. Love him so much. But this gay dude, I will be surprised if he's not dead within the next few months or something, because there's no way that you can get away with spilling that much information on Pfizer and just live after that. There's no way. But basically, the first story was that Pfizer was mutating these viruses, and then, this virus, and then the second one was that COVID was affecting women's menstrual cycles. So
yeah. And we actually have that clip for you right now.
Regular about their menstrual cycle, so people will have to investigate that down the line.
Yeah.
Well, because that is a little concerning. The vaccine shouldn't be interfering with that, so we don't really
It shouldn't?
It shouldn't, no.
But is it?
There's something happening, but we don't know what to figure out.
Well, I mean, you're a urologist, so you must understand, what's going on with it, right?
Well, that's why I understand that it's weird. I hope we don't find out that, somehow this mRNA, lingers in the body, and then because it has to be impacting something hormonal to impact menstrual cycles. Yeah, or the entire next generation is super fucked up. Could you imagine the scandal? Oh my God. I mean, I'd take Pfizer off my resume.
do you imagine the scandal?
Can you imagine it? Can you imagine this scandal? Oh my gosh. Take off my resume. Oh my God. Come on, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
He's a little confused.
Oh, wow.
Typical liberal, in it for the drama. There you go.
He's like, wow, we could have screwed up a bunch of women and a bunch of little girls, but who cares? What a scandal, right? I'm like, yeah, who cares? Yeah.
Horrifying and terrible for the entire American people, but this is such a scandal.
Oopsies. We don't know. Oops. Our bad.
I can't right now.
Even if you really thought that he was on a date with some gay guy that really was interested in him, you just told him that something is going on that's going to affect his entire family, his friends, every single person that he knows, basically. And then he's like, "Look how cool it is."
Yeah, it's like, hey, listen, I may not be helping out, kill and harm a lot of Americans through lifetime life-changing medical issues, but that's just me. I like to hike. I like to destroy lives. It's just me.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun?
Yeah. What the hell is wrong with this guy? Who goes out and just starts a conversation like, yeah, I mutate these viruses. I may affect women. There may be no children anymore because of me. But this is what I do for work. But don't worry, if something goes wrong, I'm going to act like it wasn't me. This is the conversation starter we got. I believe it was like the third date or something they were on or something, and this is where we're at. This is what
It
people
wasn't
talk
me.
about.
But sir, we have caught you on camera. It wasn't me.
What's Pfizer? I never worked there.
I wasn't me. Listen, I'm just a poor gay man living in this oppressive country. How dare you accuse me of wrongdoing?
Yeah, he'll get to use that gay card and
Yeah.
he'll get away with everything. Oh, but man, more relevant news. Project Veritas. They suspended James O'Keefe. This is an interesting move. No one saw this coming.
Yeah, and he's on paid leave right now. It's hard to understand why they see any type of positive in removing him. People have a hard time understanding that their boss isn't always going to be their friend. Your boss should not be your friend. Your boss is not your equal either. And your boss expecting you to do the work when he is out there doing most of it and he wants you to live up to the standard of the organization, that, just because you don't want to do it or you're not getting enough recognition for it, you can't cry about it, And if what you're harping on right now is the recognition that you're not getting, normally that tends to happen when you work underneath somebody, for one. And two, if all you care about is the recognition, are you really doing this for the right reason? Are you really working for this organization for the right reasons?
No, not at all. And I mean, let's be clear here. Project Veritas, they might have good people working for him, but that is nothing without James O'Keefe. He is Project Veritas. So like, we got to wait and see what eventually happens up with this. But I don't see any way where they actually get rid of James O'Keefe. That is literal suicide. Like, there's no way they go through with that.
Not only is he the face of the organization, but he's the mission of the organization. Project Veritas's mission is James O'Keefe's mission.
Yeah, and like again, like Austin said, like again, there are a ton of people who work there, and of course they're important to the overall health of the group. Again, a lot of stuff that they do cannot be done without a good staff there to support them and to do the right thing. But again, the point is to do the right thing. It's not there to get your name in lights and to be popular and to be famous or to be in the video. You are exposing corruption and truth. That's not about you. It's about what's happening. It's about the lives being hurt and being changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something because Project Veritas. These workers, they might be living under a shadow, but going in that's going to happen. And no matter what job you have, you want your boss to be tough because if he's weak, then you have that weak boss and you're not going anywhere. Like, you want a strong boss. You might not like it, but as an employee, you're going to get that check if you're being led by somebody that's strong. You don't want a weak boss. If James O'Keefe is weak, he doesn't get this Pfizer employee to start talking. We don't get the biggest scandal he's ever exposed. And it's amazing how this happens right afterwards. In my conspiracy theory mind, like, man, it's amazing how Pfizer runs deep and they have sponsors and advertisements and everything everywhere. And all of a sudden you expose Pfizer and the man behind it is now could be unemployed soon. Just my brain spinning here, a little bit of smoke going up.
I do think that the timing is a bit convenient. James O'Keefe is a hell of a journalist. He is awesome. And the timing of it and just everyone making a fuss about this right now, I feel like that's how you can tell that they're in it for the recognition and not for the mission, because this is like their biggest story yet. This is insane.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't get enough recognition? Nancy Pelosi.
Oh my God.
That State of the Union, dude, everybody turned that on and we saw Nancy within the first couple minutes. It made everybody's eye. I know it did. Like, go on. As a man, you couldn't look at Nancy and not just be happy, right? Like,
what a
you were
tall
happy.
glass of warm curdled milk.
For any new listeners, there's not an episode that goes by that Nancy Pelosi's name is not mentioned. So.
Icon. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this.
Nancy's our running joke. Okay. Nancy has to be on every episode. We should start featuring her. Maybe we can get her on one time.
One day, yeah. One day. Like, hey,
she could do her whole little thing, whatever she does.
Hey, Nance, we're doing a little groove thing over here in the pod. Gonna come on with us?
Sucking on her lips and doing her hand things.
Do a little dance.
Oh man, but that State of the Union, that was a mess. I mean, Joe Biden was arguing with the people in attendance half the time. Tal, I know you shared this. What are your thoughts on him arguing with the crowd over what was it over Social Security?
My opinion is that if you're gonna lie in front of all these people, how do you not expect them to react? You're gonna get up there and just start spewing some nonsense, things that you actually supported. If you want to roll that clip real quick.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Not
You
once,
heard it here
not
first.
twice, not 3 times, but 4 times.
4 times, and then I'm gonna get up there and lie to your faces. There you go. So that's why he got backlash, and that's why it was deserved. What are we?
Honestly, though, Joe Biden can lie. Like, Joe Biden can walk on stage and say America is now an empire underneath the Chinese rule, and I am now king of the land. And you guys whatever. You can say nonsense, whatever you want to say the nonsense, and no one's going to say anything because he's a doddering old man and no one cares to do anything about it. Joe Biden can say the wildest thing on TV. He can say, "I love little kids. I love little kids emotionally. I love when they touch my body in a pedophilic way," and no one will bat an eye because why he's an doddering old man and the media is going to protect him. No one cares.
Well, I mean, nobody would care if he says it because he's been showing that for years now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, it's old news. That's old news.
I care about the actions more than the words.
In it anymore.
That's true.
Yeah, but
no, yeah, I am a big fan of the State of the Union. Not a lot of people are, for probably no good reason. Usually, it's kind of like this theater, really. The president kind of lies a little bit and kind of says, "Oh, this is kind of what's going on." But I like the idea that we try to come together. We attempt to be cordial and to pretend like we like the president. But this one was just terrible. just plain bad. Not even worth watching, really. To be honest with you guys.
same lies repeated all the time. He doesn't even make up new ones. He might exaggerate a little bit more on the lies, but it's the same repeated lies. Like, at least if you're going to lie, make a new one. We know all politicians lie. Just be a little creative.
The most embarrassing, the most embarrassing part of this, though, was that all these Democrats, even people that I know, were like, "This is one of his best speeches yet." That's horrifying. That is so scary.
So bad.
That this was one of his best speeches yet. Was it? Probably. Does that make it good? No, it doesn't.
Joe Biden is so removed from the common person, from the common man. And so to hear him talk about the economy was just wild to me, because this man has been in the government pocket for decades, has barely spent any of his own money ever. And he's going to talk about groceries and people getting paid. I think we have a clip about that, about him talking about the economy, and it's awful.
My administration is also taking on junk fees. Those hidden surcharges too many companies use to make you pay more. We're going to ban surprise resort fees that hotels charge on your bill. Those fees can cost you up to $90 a night at hotels that aren't even resorts. And we'll prohibit airlines from charging $50 round trip for family just to be able to sit together. Baggage fees are bad enough. Airlines can't treat your child like a piece of baggage. For too long, workers have been getting stiffed. But not anymore. We're beginning to restore the dignity of work. For example, 30 million workers have to sign non-compete agreements for the jobs they take. 30 million. So a cashier at a burger place can't walk across town and take the same job at another burger place and make a few bucks more. But not anymore. We're banning those agreements so companies have to compete for workers and pay them what they're worth.
I'm so sorry to everybody who had to listen to him talk. I know it was tough. It was hard on us. I almost threw up a couple times.
I have one word: priorities.
Priorities.
Where are they at? Where
eggs?
are your priorities?
Eggs are like $8. Gas prices are still way higher than they were when Trump took over. He'd be like, no, don't worry about any of that. Any of the common goods. Worry about your hotel fees. Because you know how we're all flying across the country to go to hotels, as we do
all the time.
All the time.
This entire country is burning under my administration, but that's okay because you might not be able to feed your families. But this,
groceries, inflation on groceries has been over 10% in the past. But guess what? I'm going to fight those ghost fees from airlines. Your kids aren't baggage. And then to go into the non-compete thing, which is absolutely a lie. No grocery store clerk or no fast food worker is getting a non-compete order. You're just absolutely lying.
Yeah, no, actually.
Hey, if you work here at McDonald's, you can never work at any other fast food place ever. That's not happening. What's
Yeah, but if you want to talk about stiffing workers, let's do that, okay? Because how many people were fired because of you? How many people lost their jobs because of you? Like, I just don't like. Does he believe this stuff? Is he delusional? Like, what are we doing here? What is this?
It's the fine art. It's the fine art of doing everything you can to do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have been raised on the government teat for 175 million years, as Joe Biden has, ever since he's a little boy, he was suckled up to that nice Uncle Sam teat. It's hard to know how much milk costs.
Yeah. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised he's lying about everything. He's done that his whole career, and he's been there forever. Like you said, he's ancient. Can't believe he even still was able to be up at what was it 9 o'clock at night that started? Went for an hour or something.
Past his bedtime, definitely.
I don't know what drugs he was on, but he was on something good, I guess.
Probably some Adderall.
Adderall? Yeah.
Some Adderall, yeah. Obviously, some study drugs. Hey, Joe, you got to cram for this exam.
Yeah.
There'll be questions.
Oh, man. But his other great talking point was he says don't treat your kid like luggage or something like you just said. But yeah, he also still wants to kill your kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Your kids aren't luggage, but they can be ritualistic tokens.
Yes.
Yeah. They were wearing those pins, those abortion pins. A few people were there.
Okay, first of all, I find it really disgusting that instead of wearing a pro-choice pin or anything along the lines of that, they wore an abortion pin. And that's the problem here, is that they're not pro-choice. They're pro-abortion. They're pro-murder. They're pro-kill your child. They're not pro-choice. What is this?
They really realized a long time ago that they can't really defend that. Like, you know, I think it was back with like Hillary Clinton. They did the safe, legal, and rare. It's like, if it's safe and it's a good thing, why is it rare? They like, really couldn't answer that question. They're like, you know what? You're right. You're right. It shouldn't be rare. It should be all the time, always. They realize that they're like their lives can't work anymore. They go, yeah, we just want to kill babies. We just want to kill all the kids. And everybody's like, yeah, okay.
It's because it is a ritual. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean,
honestly, yeah, and it holds so much importance in their lives too that they made that like that. All their pins that they wear, they're all symbolic. They all are, and that's the one that they chose to wear. So that's disgusting.
They all pretend as if they are these atheists who don't care about God or you know all the kind of rules. Like, no, we are government of men who decide our own rules. But clearly they are a deeply religious group. They have their sayings, they have their prayers, they have their idols, they have the rituals. To the letter, I'd say like they have one of the biggest churches in America, if not the Christian church.
Yeah, it shouldn't surprise anybody. The abortion topic's just going to keep heating up. I mean, every year they're going to push, they're going to fight because that's what they care about the most is death. So
and like that, I think that's perfectly encapsulated as well. Like kind of seeing that like that kind of satanic kind of movement coming through, especially with Sam Smith's song that he performed.
Oh, Fat Boy, or sorry, not Fat Boy because he's non-binary. Fat Thing, is that more appropriate?
I think that is more inclusive. But also,
needs more clothes on.
I think you are using body shaming language. So I think you got to say
I am
an solar orbit thing with feelings.
Can I say Mini Lizzo?
I think that's more accurate.
He's smaller than Lizzo. Can I just say Mini Lizzo? I think we get the point.
I think that's too much of a compliment. I think that's too much of a compliment to him.
What now? What now?
Yeah, I think he would enjoy that too much. Me and to do the whole little body thing. But no, if you didn't see his performance at the Grammys, it was so bad. And it's really interesting how Hollywood is just outwardly open, but like at this point they have nothing to hide. They're like, yeah, we're Satanists. It's whatever. Moving on.
That's why Christians were so much more like forward with their beliefs and like outspoken about them, because these people are, and they trick us into being shameful or or thinking that it's like we shouldn't be outspoken about our religion and stuff. Like, it's disgusting. It really is.
They have pretended for years that we were crazy people. Oh, you think Satan is controlling the world? Really? You think Satan is in Hollywood? Really? You guys are crazy. You want to what? Really? Wow, you guys are idiots. And then boom, right on schedule. hey guys, by the way, we're gonna have this trans gay orgy on stage to the devil. Don't forget to sacrifice your kids to the devil as well, guys. We have our Satan meeting at the elementary school on Tuesdays. Bring your own lunches.
Not even a joke.
Not even a joke. I was like all serious. I was facts.
That happens nowadays. I mean, just to go back a couple years, I don't know what award show it was, but you had Lil Nas X dancing on the devil's lap on stage. Like, this is nothing new. So
there's a time where you couldn't even mention.
Yes.
By Pfizer, yeah. There's a time on TV where you couldn't even mention divorce on TV because it was considered too unclean and too vulgar. To mention divorce, to mention getting pregnant by anyone else but your husband used to be like you couldn't say that out loud in public. If you were communist, you were arrested. But now they're like, oh yeah, this is on TV. You can say almost anything you want as long as it's not conservative or Christian.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. And you brought a video to my attention of one of these dancers on stage for his performance. It was a tranny, so unfortunately, I had to watch this. So you guys listen closely to what this thing says.
Literally hot. There was so much fire. I think a lot of people honestly have kind of labeled what I stand for and what Sam stands for as religiously not cool. And I personally grew up wondering about religion and wanting to be a part of it, but then slowly realizing it doesn't want me to be a part of it. And so, it's a take on not being able to choose religion and not being able to, live the way that people might want you to live. Because, as a trans person, I'm kind of already not want it in religion. So we were doing a take on that, and it was kind of Hellkeeper Kim. But yeah, it was so incredible that Madonna introduced it, because Madonna is such a provocative and groundbreaking artist. And I think Sam and I definitely felt very inspired by Madonna in this one.
I like what she says. Oh, it was hot up there. Yeah, it was hot because that's how symbolism works. And do you know what else is hot? Hell is hot. Hell is very hot.
Yeah.
Or wanting everybody else out there.
She admits that it's provocative. It's the wrong thing. It's not the right way to live. It's
because she says that she was envious of she was curious about religion when she was younger, and she felt like it wasn't it didn't want her. Religion is giving God what God is due. It's giving him what he is deserving of. And clearly these people nowadays, they can't do that because they're too involved in their own pride. It was not that religion did not want her. Of course religion wants her. It wants every lost soul.
Mm-hmm.
She did not want to give up what she wanted, her selfish desires, her pride up. I'm sorry, I'm confusing the points. That young man, I apologize.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's why I was waiting to interrupt. I was like, that's a dude.
She confused me.
Dude.
I'm confused. I'm sorry. No, don't cancel me, guys. Don't cancel me. Yeah, this young man clearly confused. Yeah. We live in a society where we now worship ourselves, and we can't give up anything for that. We can't sacrifice for our families, our friends, for our children. We kill our kids now. And so the idea is of course everyone wants religion. Of course everyone wants to be a part of that kind of thing. Of course people want to have meaning in their lives. But we've been tricked into thinking that meaning is in ourselves, that it's just about our outward looks and our internal being and what makes us happy, and sex and rock and roll, all that kind of stuff. No. And so clearly, unfortunately, these people, Sam Smith, other people, they are incapable of giving up what they personally want for something better, something higher.
Yeah, I wonder how far she looked into religion, though, because I feel like the first thing would be to realize that you can't live for both God and for the world.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she was trying to do, it sounds like. So.
Caught you. You said she as well. See, it wasn't just me, guys. It was just me.
The thing.
The she, her, them, Transformer, Optimus Prime.
Transformer. There you go.
The Trans Am transmission.
Anything
operator.
but she. Okay. Anything but she.
I can see that young man spent a lot of money to deceive everybody.
Isn't Sam Smith like non-binary or something too?
Yeah, fat boy.
That's what really gets me, because how are you just not gender?
I'm nothing.
The Dave them really confused me, because not being a gender not being a gender and also being like a they them, like numerous people, like just numerous personalities.
Yeah, I'm actually a collective, actually. Turns out all people who identify as they them are just actually possessed by multiple demons. Yeah,
That's scary.
we are Legion.
That doesn't seem too far off after what I just watched from Sam Smith.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And again, we kind of jokingly and we kind of kid and kind of insult, but at the end of the day, like I feel nothing but like sadness for the people. So I feel a lot of pity that they think all this kind of demonic stuff, all the money, all the sex, all the fame is worth their soul, is worth actual meaningful relationships. I'm sorry for that young man who probably destroyed his body for the rest of his life so that he can pretend to be this Barbie doll stick figure for the show. It's really sad.
I mean, in reality, they're not even people anymore. They're just puppets, and they're just so lost and sad.
Yeah. Everybody out there, pray for these folks. Okay, again, it's easy to be upset with all the Democrats and all these Satanists and all these people, but we need to pray for deliverance for these people. We need to hope that these people find God at some point in their lives, that they realize their mistakes and that they come clean. Because living that kind of life, it must be so vacuous, so terrible, so sad, so lonely. Sam Smith can have all the gay lovers he wants, but at the end of the day, he's gonna be alone. He's gonna have all the money in the world and have all the fans screaming his name, but he's gonna, at the end of the day, he's gonna die and not go where he should be going.
Yep. Well, I mean, let's hope people turn off the Grammys. We don't watch this anymore. You don't let your kids watch this. I think that's priority number one. Gets worse every year. I mean, you had the devil this year, so what are you gonna have next year?
Yeah,
that's true. I have no idea. Like, wow, it's unimaginable. I don't know.
How do you top
I think
this?
At that point, it's just poof. I think at that point, it's gonna be full pornography. I think the Grammys is gonna be just full pornography. At the rate that we're declining as a country, I think it's gonna be just pure pornography. I think that's kind of like the next step.
Honestly, I can see that because wasn't there something about being able to show your boobs online?
Yeah,
but if you were transgender, right? It's probably what they're gonna go with next year.
Yeah, that's allowed now online if you're transgender.
They're gonna have a whole striptease fashion show orgy on stage. Hey guys, we are showing our true love here. If you don't like it, then you're a bigot.
Yeah, love is love, guys.
Love is equal. I love pizza. I love cartoons. I love little children. It's all the same. It's all the same to me. It's all the same.
Well,
wow. Okay, Kwan.
That clip's gonna come out one day and just like, Kwan, what did you say?
Yeah.
Like, listen, guys, that's out of context. I don't actually love cartoons.
Yo, you don't love cartoons.
They're okay.
Man, we're getting off the rails here.
Get off the rails, guys. Sorry.
Well, like I said, if this was anyone's first episode watching from Loud Majority, this is Kwan. He's our comedian. So don't take anything he says serious, especially like this. Okay. He doesn't love little kids. He does love cartoons, though.
I mean, I love little kids as far as like, the God they love. I don't think that's untrue. I think it's been nice. I do love everybody. And I love children enough to say that we shouldn't be killing them in the womb. I love kids enough to say that we should be grooming them into these LGBTQ camps. I love kids enough to say that we shouldn't be letting our kids stay in schools 8 hours a day being controlled by these LGBT teachers who want to push them full of these like, government agendas.
He loves kids. He's not in love with kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go, guys. Gotta make that distinction. There are so many pedophiles out here today. You gotta make that distinction outside.
Yeah, Joe. Oh, well, I think it's been a fun episode. I think we hit all our talking points. We had Fat Sam Smith. We had, non-binary Sam Smith. We had Joe Biden. We had Nancy Pelosi. Can't forget Nancy. The gay guy, Project Veritas. I think we're done here. What do you guys think?
I think
after this, we should wrap it up and solve world hunger.
Solve world hunger? Well, let's get on that. Let's get on that. We're going to solve world hunger, and we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye. God bless.
Bye.